This week on Across the Arrowverse, we've taken light from plants and trees, and we're back with the end of Season 4 of Supergirl. Hi everyone, welcome to Across the Arrowverse. I am Matthew Vose.
And I'm Catherine Vose.
So, we have wrapped up Season 4 of Supergirl. Lots of things happened. These are the last 5 episodes, so we've done sort of 2 sets of 8 and one of 5. These are the episodes Crime and Punishment, which is the post-attack on the White House.
Yep.
We've got American Dreamer, which is Kara not operating as Supergirl anymore and Dreamer stepping up. We've got Will the Real Miss Tessmacher Please Stand Up? With all the Russian Kasny and stuff.
I like it.
We've got Red Dawn.
Yep.
Good 80s film reference about that penultimate episode, which I think we know a lot of stuff happened there. And the last episode, The Quest for Peace.
Yeah.
Which is the subtitle of Superman 4.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very nice. One of the worst superhero films, but it is called Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
The Quest for Peace.
Yeah.
Nice.
Overall thoughts on, can we talk these 5, or do we talk the season as a whole?
I think we can talk these 5, but
Okay.
probably we may slip into the season as a whole every now and then.
Right.
My overall thoughts were, I thought at one point that they were totally jumping the shark.
Okay.
In a bit of an Avatar-esque, sorry, you have totally pushed me beyond. But then they pulled it back.
Right.
And, yeah,
Okay.
I'm happy.
Okay. So are you talking sucking light from plants and trees?
Yeah, that's almost
Okay.
akin to sitting around in a circle, rocking side to side and chanting around a tree, as far as I'm concerned.
I think my problem with it is, other than that it's ridiculous, I think my problem with it is that they never set it up.
No.
If at some point, earlier that episode, there'd been a thing about, I'm building you a suit that can harness sun that's trapped in plants, because plants use sun and trap it, so there is technically light in anything. If there'd just been some Chekhov's sun power in plants thing, I would have gone, okay, they've at least given us the information and then delivered it. Or if, I don't know, in talking about fighting Red Daughter, if maybe Alex had heard a thing, so it wasn't even Supergirl who'd heard it, Alex had heard it, and that's why Alex presented that idea there. It just came from nowhere.
Yeah. And in previous seasons, when she's been badly injured, she's had to be in a special chamber where they pulsed extreme yellow sun at her.
Been under a sun lamp.
So yeah, basically,
Yeah.
so
Like
the
my
idea
nephew was born and needed vitamin D. Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea that Alex could go, here, let me rip some grass up and put it in your hand while shrieking hysterically, it was a bit daft, wasn't it?
It felt very much like a comic book.
Yes.
You read that in a comic book and you're like, yes, because this is fantasy.
Yes.
Fine. The TV show never quite has gone that far, because it really did feel like the end of a Final Fantasy movie or game, because that's a beat they go to quite often. The Earth healing itself, this kind of thing. So, okay.
So that, and I think actually that is the scene.
Right.
That for me just made me go, ugh.
Yeah.
But then I enjoyed the rest of it, so I'm like, okay, I'll forgive them.
Yeah. So that fight, that's the end of the fight between Supergirl and Red Daughter.
Yep.
Captain, or whatever it was. And it's quite a good fight. I love her Red Daughter being in the suit so that we can just have Kara fighting her stunt double.
Yeah.
Great, that's a really nice way of doing it. I quite liked showing that she had some extra powers, which was quite interesting. When Superman comes back to life after the Death of Superman series in the 90s, he has electricity powers.
Okay.
So there's just a sort of, again, another hint of they're using stuff in the canon that hasn't necessarily been associated with these characters. That's fine.
I'm intrigued by the idea that Red Daughter says, I'm evolved. I'm like, oh, superheroes a bit like Pokemon.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Feed them enough taco nuts and then,
then they can evolve an extra power.
And when you feed them, they make a nice noise. She hit her with the lightning and it turned dark. That was the bit for me. I was like,
I forgot about that.
Wait, what?
Have we just skipped the bit where they fought throughout dusk?
Yeah, that's what I think it's implied to be, that they are fighting very late in the day, but it's not presented as such.
No.
So it's just, and what's really annoying to me is I went and read a number of reviews. I was like, okay, there's a thing I've missed here. One person mentioned it with a, hey, wasn't that weird? And everyone else moved on. I think it was actually a poorly done moment. In particularly that penultimate episode, a very well done episode. There was a lot of good going on in there. So let's come to that in a bit.
Yeah.
The story as a whole, Children of Liberty actually being a thing that Lex Luthor did. Yep. I mean, Children of Liberty definitely waned as the season went on. As
they got less controlled.
Yep.
And became more just a rabble of horrific racists.
White dudes.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. I mean, they did cast that exactly as they should, so...
It's kind of almost seemed as if anyone who was even slightly morally sound within them, if misguided, had dropped away, and it just became horrible, angry, violent men.
So in doing the metaphor, what it is doing a metaphor for, they did it very well, I think. The rise of Lex was just as good. You know, we enjoyed him going full bad and full villain. And they went to that on a number of occasions, but at the same time he was intelligent and manipulating the situation and setting things up that did come to pass.
Yeah, he kept his crazy in control.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. His intellect allowed him to seem rational, even though actually it was, you know, as Eve said, look, I thought we had this plan for this horribly immoral thing, but for a thing that would benefit us. Oh no, actually, this is all now about your crazy obsession with killing Superman.
Yeah.
You know, it was very, very interesting that he's, you know, that really, you know, this obsession completely consumes him. Absolutely. In a way that actually, if he was just relying on his intellect and choosing what was best for him, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
But that crazy is still there. I thought this was a very good Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
I don't like it when they try and make Lex Luthor too sexy and things like that. No. Because that's not Lex Luthor.
No.
Whereas I thought this guy, the fact that, you know, the actor that he chose, he is a very next door looking dude.
Yeah.
A very good actor, but, you know, he's a very next door looking dude.
Yeah.
And for me, that was perfect.
I think the whole thing about it worked. I think there wasn't a misstep with Lex, I don't think.
Yeah.
So that was good. Even the ending of Lex, because I didn't believe Supergirl would kill him, but I was sort of like, I could see them killing him because this would be a well that's too easy to go to.
Yeah.
And by comparison with Ben Lockwood, who they just kept increasing his power as the show went on, Lex is a better villain because they have to fight him on his terms almost. Giving Lex the Lexo suit actually diminishes it a bit in some ways because his whole thing is predicting what people are going to do and setting up to counter them.
Yes.
And lead them down the wrong path and distract them or deal with them in those ways. So, which is why he's a good villain for Superman. Because powerful villains, well, Superman's
even
immortal.
More powerful.
And so.
And I guess that was shown at the end where Lex had to fall back on hitting Supergirl with the most Kryptonianist hit. And
the kickiest kick with kryptonite.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. I saw what you were going for, yep.
But clearly that failed.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it failed because we had to have the only possible positive ending for Red Daughter because they couldn't have kept them both.
No.
Well, they could, but it would have got a bit over confusing.
Tatiana Maslany's done it.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. Yeah, I agree.
You know, and so I think this allowed them to tell the story that they wanted to, which was that actually, under it all, she was the same full-hearted Kara as Kara is.
Yeah.
but she'd been misled.
Yeah.
And now she redeemed herself and gave Kara some evolved purple eye lightning powers.
Something. I liked that they did even call out that there was a nature nurture thing going on here.
Yes.
That yes, there could be something inside her, but she's not been brought up to
embrace it.
That. Yeah, absolutely. So that was very nicely done. Yeah. The Kara and Alex story, which sort of bubbled away and actually diminished the whole thing with Alex not remembering who her sister was. I like that suddenly, particularly in that penultimate episode, came back to the fore with the adoption and the parallel that Kara was adopted and sisters and all that. And then Alex remembering herself and what that meant. And then the strength of the sisters in that final episode.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes, I really like that. And I'm really glad that Alex knows again.
Yep.
Because I think it was an interesting plot arc overall.
Seemed not so in the beginning.
No, in the beginning I didn't like it. But now I'm happy that they're united again. Yeah. Yes.
I'm circling around because I don't want to come to Brainy quite yet, because I think there's a lot of conversation to have on Brainy. John didn't have much to do. Nianal didn't have much to do, although I like her.
I think their development...
No, she did have her own episode, to be fair.
Well, but... I think their interesting development arcs had already happened before these last 5.
That's fair.
And so in these last 5, they were enacting from the position that we'd brought them to.
Yep.
And it wasn't, they weren't as...
Yeah.
Their character arcs weren't as mainframe for this end bit. Even though they had key aspects in the plot to play, but their character growth arc for the series had already happened.
Yeah. Nianal is now a superhero with control of her powers. Like we've moved through that pretty quickly. But at the same time, we've done origin stories in this show a lot. I wanted to make a comment about Colonel Haley. Because, again, she drifted off a bit because the threat of DEO and all of that didn't matter in the end. Because it was just about Team Supergirl working the problem. You made a comment about her being like Amanda Waller.
Yes.
And not from a, really obvious standpoint, but yes, it is a strong woman in charge of this thing and using perhaps underhand practices to achieve the government's aims. Like that is the Waller character. Why did they not use the Amanda Waller actress?
Oh, I don't know.
I actually really would have enjoyed that had it been Amanda Waller, but Earth 38's version of.
Yeah, that could have been interesting.
It just occurred to me, it's a shame, actually. That would have been quite cool.
I do, though. I mean, maybe this is just the Amanda Wallers that I have seen.
Right.
I do think Haley differentiates herself in that actually she is less amoral than Amanda Waller is painted.
I would give that.
And actually her initial rigidity was her following her moral code, which is that even if I don't agree with today's action, if I believe that underlying it I am following the orders of people who are doing the best for my country, then that's what I have to do.
Yeah.
And whereas I think Amanda Waller, certainly the Amanda Wallers in the films and the TV series where I've seen her, I think she's a little bit more close to that edge of are we going to be allowed to like her or not?
Yes.
What is she up? She's a bit less caring of human
possibly
life.
Chaotic good, chaotic neutral.
Yes.
Not lawful law.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they could have done that with Amanda Waller, had an Amanda Waller who was just straight down the line and did waver at times. But I like what you're saying about Colonel Haley follows her code, and her code has never diverged from what she was being asked to do before, so it was never an issue. And this is the first time she's been presented with an actual moral issue.
Yes.
Of orders versus thing.
Yeah. So and she came out on the right side of that.
Absolutely.
And I was pleased to see that.
Yeah.
I liked her as a character, and I liked that unlike Alex and Supergirl, she's portrayed as having a job and a home life.
Yeah.
Whereas, we watch these shows, it's like, seriously, these guys have no life with anyone outside the people that they spend their working day with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, that's good. Lena.
Oh, Lena.
Lena. She had an arc.
She did, and I think it continues.
Yeah. I think the big arc about her and Lex, that's the one that's been resolved, and yes. I have enjoyed the investigation into his prison cell, the investigation in Casnia, I I think she already distrusted him. She already didn't like him, but he was right. She sought his approval.
Yes.
And his, yes, you are my equal sort of thing. And I've liked that as she's looked into it, she's seen more foibles in him, and it's changed that power dynamic.
Yes.
And she has, on 2 occasions now, gone for her mother and beaten her mother at her own game. For want of a better phrase. Yes. So,
although, I'm wondering if the fact that she now knows that her mother does love her, even if she is cold and calculating as all heck, but does that also change a little bit Lena's power Lena's leanings, her allegiances? Because she's very much someone that, as intelligent as she is, she craves affection and closeness and love.
Yep.
And if she's feeling rejected by her family of choice, and she's killed her brother, does she go back to her mother?
There's that, or possibly a criminal organisation.
Well,
got
indeed.
mentioned in the last few minutes.
Well, indeed, indeed. But yeah, I think Lena is on a knife edge.
Yeah.
And she has been for a lot of the season, actually.
And I feel like the way they wrote that ending, they're leaving it for the season 5 writers to decide what they want to do. Because they could do, actually, she gets told, there's a few episodes of coldness and then we come back. They could go, Lena as a villain, Lena working against them, Lena leaving the show. They've sort of left it fairly open to decide what they do. She's angry now, but we could get past that. Yeah. Or we can increase that anger, or do something else. Yeah,
because it's hard, because I can see her never forgiving them, but she's never been I want to destroy the world type of villain.
No.
So I would find it hard to see her moving from... I would find it hard to see her translating her anger with them as a group into an anger against humanity doing some kind of hideous megalomaniac deed in the manner of Lex. Most of the time when she does something horrendous, it's done out of some misguided belief that what she's doing is bettering humanity.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's someone that's going to... Maybe someone will trick her again and point her in a bad direction. But
we've done that story a few times.
We have.
The misguided things against stuff, but like you say, that's something she's done. The core of Lex's beliefs is that the world does not need Superman.
Yeah.
And I could see that becoming Lena's belief.
Yeah.
Actually, Supergirl, with all the lying and all the deceit and all the problems it brings, is not good. And that then leads her to becoming an antagonist. Yeah. Not necessarily, like you say, megamaniacal, but... It's an interesting setup.
It is.
And I like what they've done with her during the season.
Yes.
This has been her best season, I think.
Yes, I think so too. Yeah. I think so too. What about Tessmacher? What do you think about Miss Tessmacher?
Yeah. I wasn't so into her by the end. I think the reveal that all this time she's been working for Lex has been good. I think the added reveal that she has then been working for someone else is pretty standard. I mean, that whole thing is kind of boring, if I'm honest. We've done that in Arrow with, was it Quadrant? We had there's a giant organisation that rules everything that Diaz, it turns out, wants to be part of. We've seen it in Arrow and things, and it's just this sort of invention of, there's this thing behind stuff that's actually...
Yeah.
I'm not so into it. I feel like it's a well-worn path.
Yeah.
And I think Miss Tessmacher was just used as a flunky in the end. I don't think her story really had the weight it could have had for someone who'd been in the show so long.
Yeah, no, I agree. And
you don't have to agree.
No, I liked the twist. I like the fact that they've almost had her as a sleeper agent just around.
Yep.
And they've lulled us into this false sense of security that, okay, it was just using her name as a cute reference rather than having her as Lex's flunky. And I liked what they did about giving her some agency and having her work with Lena and show her intelligence. So for me, having her suddenly be Lex's love, I liked that.
Yeah.
I didn't like the completely irrational adoration of Lex. I'm like, where has that even come from? Yeah. I don't think they gave me a reason to understand or believe that, which I didn't like.
Right.
And then, as you say, she became a flunky, almost like a Graves, as opposed to an equal or anyone he respected. So I'd have been happier to see her either. I don't know. I feel like there's something slightly different that could have worked there.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they haven't just discarded the actress.
No.
I'm interested to see what then happens.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to see her maybe turn against Lex, maybe... Do you know what I mean? Like, I felt, I don't know, it just didn't land 100% for me.
No. I wonder if part of that is because she never got a moment. That bit about calling him out on his evil plan, I mean, that could have been anyone. So there's nothing that I feel like, oh yes, that made her a worthwhile character in that moment.
Yeah.
That differentiated her from someone else. I don't think we ever quite got to that bit. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we are at Brainy.
Oh.
So let's talk Brainy. Brainy had a really good arc with his falling in love with Neonal.
Yeah.
Him stepping up a bit more at the DEO. Him trying to be a bit more of a person. And then in the penultimate episode, they broke Brainy.
They did. Oh my goodness.
What were your thoughts on whatever Brainiac we saw?
I was heartbroken. I genuinely felt like they'd killed one of my favourite characters.
Oh, really?
And replaced him with someone I didn't like.
Okay.
Like, because they were two different people.
Yeah.
You know, and I know how it is, and it's different.
Yeah.
You know, but I genuinely felt like they killed my favourite character.
Okay.
And I was scared that they weren't going to fix him. You know, I was scared that the Brainy that I'd grown to genuinely feel a lot of affection for over this season had gone. So when he rebooted himself, I mean, that was a little bit jumpy the shark as well.
Yeah.
But when he came back and when he said he loved it, you know, my heart, that genuinely, him and that's been my favourite plots the whole series.
Great.
Supergirl Alex, yeah, lovely. No, give me Brainy. Give me Brainy any day. Yes.
Yeah, it was really, I mean, I really enjoyed the portrayal. He's very funny. I love that he keeps that voice and that accent at all times. And yeah, when he became a different person, he was a different person. He was more rigid, more straight. It just, not necessarily a villain, which was interesting. No moral code.
Completely driven by logic.
Yeah, no. Because if he had no moral code, he wouldn't have been working to stop Lex.
No, he'd have just gone and done something to help himself.
It's that his code put the ends ahead of the means.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So whatever it takes, do that thing.
Yeah.
Which is quite good. I like that portrayal. I expected them not to reboot him. I thought it was going to be setting up season 5 villain. That Brainiac was going to be a problem. Brainiac is one of Superman's biggest villains.
Right.
Brainiac is one of the reasons that I'm going to say Kandor. Oh, I've probably got that wrong. One of the cities survives because Brainiac shrinks cities down and keeps them in bottles.
And Brainy referenced that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like, my ancestors were collectors.
Exactly.
You know, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Brainiac and Lex have worked together, and he is a proper big alien villain type thing. So that would be quite interesting. In fact, I've just remembered, I think that's the resolution of Red Sun. You remember how I couldn't remember exactly what the resolution was, but I knew it was a thing. It's that Superman defeats Brainiac. Brainiac has Kandor or a Kryptonian city in a bottle, and Superman cannot work out how to restore it to its regular size. And is working to protect these bottles so that nothing ever happens to them. And I think the thing that Lex puts in his pocket that Superman reads with his X-ray vision says something like, "Why don't you put the whole world in a bottle?" And that's the thing about Superman actually being a dictator rather than a good person. I think that's what it was.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I've been racking my brains for a while about it, and it's suddenly come. So, but yeah, I expect them to bring that in more, and it is still possible.
Yeah, I wonder if they're just planting that as Chekhov's Brainy has this other side.
This ancestral memory.
That it's not impossible, you know. And the fact that he sort of rebooted himself and became back to normal, does that mean that actually, is he really fixed?
Yeah.
Has he got a little bit of a loose wire?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
That'd be interesting to see. But that was really good. It's almost a shame it only lasted an episode, but... an interesting insight and something
I'm so happy it only lasted an episode.
But we did say on the last one, they've never done Brainy's backstory. He's just been there. So this sort of opens that up, and it's, I will credit them for waiting this long. It is more interesting rather than, like with Nia Null, introduce a new character, spend a season and analysing everything with the character. We saw that with Nora in The Flash. It's a bit more interesting to have a character around for a bit and then take them apart in front of her eyes.
And they've dropped some breadcrumbs about it. That whole thing about Monel and the microaggressions and, building up that Brainy wasn't necessarily the equal core member of the team as some of the rest of the Legion were. Legion? Yes, Legion.
Legion of Superheroes.
That's the one.
Yep.
That's such a bad name. Just those few, just bits and bobs like that.
Yeah. Okay. So that's all our big stuff, our big plots. I think the season was a pretty good success overall.
Yes, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And that's what I want. I want to finish a season and go, oh, that was a jolly good romp.
Yeah. I particularly liked that the big fight, they have good rocking music and our heroes at their most powerful taking down the villains and the two main villains of the series.
Yes.
Yeah, that was very nice. And that's the sort of, yes, team's on top, go Team Supergirl.
We might need to watch that again. I also liked that we didn't have to have Kara having yet another love interest.
Yep. That's very true, actually.
Kara was just doing stuff.
Yeah.
There was some emotional stuff with Alex, but in general, Kara was just doing stuff, being Kara, being a good reporter, being Supergirl, doing her best.
Yeah.
They gave some romance plots elsewhere, and that's all good, because it's an ensemble cast. It's not just about Supergirl.
That's true. I think we said at the very beginning of the Supergirl episodes that Kara is involved in everyone's story, but doesn't have her own story. And I feel like even when we've seen all the Red Daughter stuff, that's true. Red Daughter had her own story that Kara was part of.
Yeah.
Kara was just involved in the whole thing, and that's a really nice way to write it. And I kind of appreciate that, to give everyone else a chance, like you say, with the ensemble. What was really nice is that Supergirl and Red Daughter were not opposites. No. It wasn't Bizarro Supergirl. It wasn't something like that. They were different takes on the same idea.
Yeah.
Which is a really, really good way to write, and really good way to put that together. So that was good. And even when they then did the debate and they sort of mocked each other and sparred with each other with their words, but still with some of the same ideas. It's just the fact that they were raising these two different things.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Really nicely done.
It's almost a shame that when she said they put you in a cheerleader skirt, there's not a line there of what's wrong with wearing what I want to wear. Or I chose this skirt or something. That was the only one, because that's the, oh, you're a girl, are you? You're a super girl. Yeah. Which we've had moments of, it's fine, it's allowed, it's, you know.
The only reason I'm pulling back from agree, because I agree with you. No. Have I in the back of my mind seen Kara as Supergirl not in a skirt for next season?
Yes.
So I wonder if if that held them back from her defending her choice of skimpy skirt material.
Yeah. And you can do it both ways. You can say, I wear what I would choose to wear, and then next season have her say, actually, pants have pockets.
Yeah.
Something like that. So, a good season. What did we get at the end? We got no Mikhail.
And do you know what? I appreciate them for that, because to me that was the obvious plot line.
Yeah,
that was the reason that she'd realised that Lex was conning her. I actually prefer Lex going, well, you've done what I need you to do now. Now I'm just going to tell you, you're a fool.
Yeah. That was a gun shooty kryptonite thing.
Yeah, sorry. I do think Lex's intellect failed him when he decided to shut her in a pod rather than kill her.
Yeah.
But
source of energy, a bit of hubris.
And that's the thing, is that's the hubris of the megalomaniac, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
I liked the slight background arc of Ben Lockwood's son.
Yes.
Who I feel might become an actual character. And I think they could do with a younger character, would be quite a good addition. So that's quite nice, although it does keep Lockwood as a possible thing for the future.
Yes, because he's not dead, is he? He's just
in prison.
grumpy in prison.
Exactly. But I liked that. I liked them using that as the sounding board for someone becoming radicalized, basically, and then realizing, actually, no, the anger you bring into the world is returned on you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It is also a little bit, I believe the children are the future.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yes, I do believe the children are our future.
But yes, I did like it.
We had the Monitor returning.
Yeah.
So setting up next season's Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Mm-hmm.
Returning John's brother.
When did John have a brother?
Well, I think this is a comic book thing.
Right.
But they've never mentioned... I cannot remember a mention of John's brother. So.
And surely in his heart-rending chit-chats with his daddy, one would expect them to have referred to his brother occasionally?
Yeah. I'm sure... Because John was... He was like a policeman, wasn't he? On Mars. He was the Martian Manhunter already.
Was he?
I feel like. Don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like they're going to do a thing of his brother committed a crime and he locked him up.
And cast him out of the family,
Exactly.
which is why no one ever spoke of him before.
Exactly, something like that. And it's just, well, we've had that with Zod and other such, you know.
I must say, that little end bit didn't fill me with like, ooh, exciting, what's this going to... I was a bit like, what?
Yeah, with
what?
Leviathan as well.
I don't even know what Leviathan is. Is
well,
that a thing?
I don't, but it is clearly a criminal organisation in the world, so...
Yeah, I'm just, obviously it's good that we're setting up for exciting things next season, but I feel like it's just like, hey, random character with no backstory we've never introduced to you before, and hey, random organisation we've never... I just feel like I would have liked a little bit more build-up to my cliffhanger, rather than, I don't know.
No, I agree. I think that is very fan-servicey.
Right.
If you know what it is, then it makes you excited. In the same way as having a purple-skinned dude turning around and smiling at the mention of death at the end of the Avengers.
Yeah, okay.
If you know what that is, that's very exciting. Someone seeking revenge on John is not exciting, and a new criminal organisation is not exciting.
No, I agree. John is actually not that exciting.
No.
I didn't mind, I thought it was a good arc.
I really liked his arc, yeah.
I really liked him embracing him. It was a good arc. But out of all of them, is he the one that I really want the plot to centre around? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, he's one step above Jimmy, just so we're clear. Who we've not talked, and I'm not interested in talking about, to be honest.
I'm not. I'm actually quite glad to hear he's leaving the series. That sounds, I don't hate him.
No.
But I am very glad they ran away from him and Kara being together super quickly.
Yeah.
Super quick. And yeah, I'm glad we're kind of over Guardian. I didn't really care whether he lived or died.
No, and I could have seen them killing him, and it would have been quite interesting.
And I don't believe in him and Lena as a couple anymore.
No, and they've moved past that. So I think they have done pretty much everything they're going to do with him.
Yeah. So
I could see the actor wanting to leave, and I've enjoyed him. He's done good stuff. He's been an interesting take on everything, but
he's brought an interesting familial member into the cast to possibly fall in love with Alex.
I think. Oh yeah, so that side, I think just including James Olsen from the very beginning, I was never totally into. I think so.
No.
Where that could have been a new character and something interesting, I get why you do it, but fine.
Yeah.
His sister, we haven't mentioned that, of course. We talked about Alex seeing his sister and being like, "Oh, I'm sad, but I kind of like you."
Yeah.
And that came to a head at the end.
Yeah. Lovely. Really like it. Nice.
So that'll be interesting to see. I hope it is just pleasant and nice.
And that Alex gets a baby.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good. The other ending bit was the Monitor glowing something in front of Lex Luthor. I could stand with Lex Luthor coming back for the crossover episodes.
Me too. I really enjoy that manly men portrayal of Lex Luthor. So I'm up for him not actually being as dead as he was portrayed to be.
I wouldn't want him in it all the time. I wouldn't want to overuse him every scene. He'd become like the Daleks.
Yeah.
Which he is. He is the
Daleks.
That equivalent in Superman DC bits.
Yeah.
But having him to rock up for the big crossover, I'd take it.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Okay, so we're going to get through the next 3 episodes of Arrow.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to shoot through these, and just to say, towards the end of the series, Arrow is improving.
Okay.
So I'm going to be selling this a little bit, just
Okay.
FYI. Episodes 16, 17 and 18, Star City 2040, Inheritance and Lost Canary. Star City 2040 is the, I think, pure future flash forwards episode.
Right.
So I think there was a coda at the end set in the now.
So we're living in the future with the kids.
In the future, where we had William grown up.
Yep.
We had the baby that Felicity's just found out she's pregnant with.
Right.
Grown up.
Yep.
Cage fighter, Black
So
Star.
she's now about
blah,
20,
blah,
right?
something like that.
20-ish, yeah.
Yes, must be 21. We have, I'm not sure we even know this yet, but we have Connor, who is Diggle's adoptive son.
Right.
Not the son that he already has. The adoptive son, who he doesn't
Okay.
have. But and this is part of the thing, it's called Star City 2040, because remembering, we've been to Star City 2046 in a Legends episode, and met Connor as Green Arrow.
Have we?
There was an early Legends episode that had a Green Arrow crossover called Star City 2046, which is why I think this is called Star City 2040.
Right.
Fine. So it's the pure future one, where we have lots of them trying to infiltrate the people who are planting the bombs.
Okay.
Because they've got these coordinates from Felicity. It turns out Connor works for the good version of Argus, called Nightwatch.
Okay.
That starts with a K.
Oh, dear God.
Which I must be a Batman thing.
Yeah.
Because you use Night in the Knigget in a Batman reference all the
Yeah.
time. It turns out... What does it turn out? It turns out Felicity's still alive but imprisoned.
Yay,
by
Felicity.
this thing. Yeah, so Felicity is now back in the future.
Right.
Back to the future, you
Okay.
might say. Everyone reunites, and Renee, who is mayor, but tries to help them stop the people who are going to be doing the bombing. And they manage to stop it. And at the end of it, Felicity and her daughter make amends, because there was clearly a rift between them.
Okay.
But Mia saying that she was, not Mia, Felicity was sort of abandoning Mia because she wanted to take on Galaxy 1 because of what they took from Felicity.
Right.
And it turns out this Archer program that they're using to track people that is invasive, a hyper security thing, that they're trying to take global so they will have control and be able to track anyone at any time, is the thing, and this is the code at the end, is the thing that Felicity invents in the now. She's been inventing this interesting home security system. She activates Archer. And it turns out it's a DNA tracking system that clearly then escalates.
So that this whole thing of be careful what you create.
And that is very much the thing. So we've had a thing going on with Felicity developing Archer. And she hires... Do you remember the other nerdy girl that she worked with, who it turns out was part of a terrorist organisation?
Yes.
A couple of seasons back.
Yes.
She has hired her as
Okay.
her CTO
Okay, nice.
to help her create Archer and make it bigger.
Right.
Fine. We then have an episode about Emiko, Oliver's sister, who is the new Green Archer. Green Arrow.
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
Yes. Oliver's sister that we didn't know existed until this season.
This season. It turns out she is working for the Ninth Circle.
The Ninth Circle. Oh, I remember these guys from the last set of episodes we talked about. These are the bigger bad that are bigger than the bad that Diaz was part of being.
Absolutely.
The bigger bad.
It is, and the way they talk about them, it is another League of Assassins.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nah.
It's like...
Been there, done that.
We already have groups that we talk about as destroying cities in the past and taking down civilizations. They steal some sarin gas, they put it on drones, Oliver manages to take them all out except for one, and Felicity takes out that other one. There's a fight between Oliver and Emiko, and we see flashbacks of Emiko with Oliver's father.
Right.
And her going to him and giving him her proposals for what to do for Queen Incorporated, whatever it used to be called, the Queen Company, and her things of this is what we could become, this is how we would become all powerful, and a really great corporation, and him going, Queen Consolidated, that's what it was called, and him going, no, the company is for Oliver. I wish he was as good as you and not a party boy, but I have promised it to him, it is his thing, and basically rejecting her. And we then see her burning plans for his yacht, the Queen's Gambit, with markings of where she's placed explosives on it.
Okay.
So I feel like
retcon central?
A little bit. I feel like it was explained in the first series that, like, Malcolm Merlin or someone had done it. But I'm wondering now if I just invented that as surely they've explained why the ship went down already.
I suspect from a continuity perspective, they've gone back, they've looked at that first season and gone, yes, we may have implied that, but we never said it was actual fact.
Possibly so, yeah.
And therefore have given themselves permission for this retcon.
Yeah, absolutely. So she is now a bad guy, and she also ends up the episode framing Laurel for killing Diaz.
Oh?
Or for killing Diaz? Certainly she releases stuff about Laurel working with Diaz.
Right.
Fine. Because we then have a Laurel episode, Lost Canary.
Okay.
Which has Laurel turning bad. Now she's been outed as a villain. She just turns into a villain. Straight away, she becomes Black Siren and teams up with Shadow Thief.
So that none of this tortured soul, maybe I'll be good.
She just decides, like, well, fine, if I'm going to be bad and everyone's going to treat me as I'm bad, I'm just going to be bad. So she's bad. She starts doing bad things and trying to steal stuff for probably the Ninth Circle. I can't even see who it was for. However, Felicity ends up coming on her side. They get Sarah Lance in to help them.
Ooh!
Because although Laurel is not technically her sister, they still have this connection to the father and there is still a connection between them. She leaves bombs to stop them coming after her, but they're like, if she'd wanted to kill us, the bombs would have killed us.
Yeah.
The fact that we survived means she didn't plan for them to kill us, so maybe there's still, there's still good in her, that kind of thing. They do manage to turn her back to the good. They tell the public that actually she was going undercover.
Right.
Rather than turning bad. And Sarah talking about, I did all these terrible things even before I was killed. But even now, I've been able to get acceptance and forgiveness because I've gone back to my home and because I've worked with the people.
Yeah.
And Laurel realises that's what she needs to do, so she goes back to make amends for all the bad things she did on Earth too.
Okay.
Which is a nice fitting end
for
the character, except in the flash forward with Archer being used even more, there are these, like, I think it's guys with helmets on, but the helmets have an integrated version of Archer that allow them to track people really minutely and are like having AI assisting them type thing.
Yeah.
Laurel shows up to save her.
Yay!
And Laurel is now a hero. In the current, they also find out that it was the Longbow Hunters that killed Emiko's father. Remember these assassins that keep getting hired and showing up? Mm-hmm. It turns out it was them, and they were hired by Dante. So they now know that Dante, although he was the untrained sort of surrogate father figure for Emiko,
right,
he was the one who killed her family because he wanted them gone. So they managed to... I'm not even sure they've managed to tell her, but they have uncovered that.
Right.
So...
Okay.
So it's starting to, things are coming together. We're seeing things in the now affecting the future, which I think I said before, I wasn't sure they were going to be able to do.
Yeah.
And you can also see how, yes, there is going to be a difference between where they leave it and where the future stuff picks up.
Nice.
So.
Okay.
It is still a little bit miserable.
It still sounds a little bit miserable and a little bit overcomplicated.
Yeah, that is true. And doing stories we've seen before.
Because those are my two problems with Arrow.
Yeah.
Overconvoluted and a bit miserable.
Yeah.
But I've enjoyed your tales of the fall and then redemption of Laurel.
Yeah.
That sounds like an interesting arc.
Actually, it's been very good. And she realised Felicity was pregnant.
Right.
And this was quite nice because Felicity wasn't going on about wine anymore. And you remember how I told you a few episodes ago there was a running gag of Felicity and wine?
Yeah.
Whilst it was funny then, it actually built into the plot here of her going, hey, you're pregnant because you keep going on about wine. You're not doing that anymore.
Nice.
Which was quite cute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay. The other good thing about this is, of course, I can skip out all the drudgery stuff. There's probably stuff in there about Renee and Diggle and people, but yeah, no, absolutely.
Laurel and Sarah Lance in particular, I'm interested in hearing about.
It was really interesting seeing her coming in, being more serious than we see on Legends generally, but still with the characteristics from Legends. Her slight just not taking anything quite seriously enough at times, and just, we'll get through it somehow.
Yeah.
Somehow,
Well, she's not a person to dwell in deep emotions.
No.
She's more of a, let's make some humorous comment, brush it off, and just do some doing.
Yeah. She owns her baggage, which I really like, and I liked her talking about it in this. She said, I started off having an affair with my sister's boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then we all got blown up in a ship. And
yeah, absolutely.
But this is where I am now, and this is the work I had to do to get there. And yes, I feel like we've seen that work.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay, 4 episodes left, so we'll do 2
Okay.
next week and 2 on the week after.
Okay.
Great.
Cool.
So that wraps us up for another week. If you have thoughts, questions, or comments, you can use the hashtag ATAV on Twitter, or you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as Eloquent Gushing. If you want to help support us, please check out our Patreon page where you can get access to exclusive content across all our shows. Go to patreon.com/eloquentgushing. And don't forget to visit the homepage, eloquentgushing.com, where you can find the other shows across the network and subscribe to our weekly newsletter with all the goings on. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you across the Arrowverse.
Across the Arrowverse is an Eloquent Gushing production. For more shows you'll love, please visit eloquentgushing.com.